guys, we have wine number 2 of the Great Canadian Wine Advent Calendar, so stay tuned.
Hey, Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, Mira Boucher. There you go. Number 2. It's night number 2 of our Pan-Canadian Advent Calendar reveal. I mean, this is, I don't know if you tuned in yesterday, but the excitement was sky high. And let's keep it going because we have another terrific wine to unveil today. I am thrilled. I can't wait. I haven't tasted. Mira, you have it wrapped. I have it almost open here, okay? So I just wait for you. It's almost. It is, and it's going to go in my glass. I'm live here from Merritt, BC. I am between, let's say, like
BC.
So Mira's in Summerland. I'm in Merritt, like an hour from Kamloops. Yeah, I got lost, so I don't know what am I doing here, but I'm here. But I have a couple bottles of wine, so why not be live and reveal our wine number 2 with you? How's your day, Mira?
At a mini sticks world tournament, right?
Oh man, this is the mini stick World Cup, the World Cup of mini stick right now. Hockey tournament for kids at U11, and after 2 hockey games today, they've been going at it for 3 hours playing mini sticks. So it's something pretty nuts here in Merritt, BC. But yeah, let's talk Canadian wines. Yesterday, we had reveal number 1. We started our Pan-Canadian journey in Nova Scotia in the Gaspereau Valley with Jean-Benoit Delaurier in one of the very tiny, exclusive, non-vintage reserve sparkling, the traditional method. And I think that people who had it, people who were with us, who opened our wine, were pretty darn impressed and very happy with that very fine bottle of bubbly. Mira, your impression on that sparkling, traditional method sparkling?
Well, I mean, we had it with oysters, which is, I mean, you got to have it with oysters. Daryl, I think he was born in Nova Scotia, I'm pretty sure. And he loved it.
That.
I think he mentioned it the other day on a post or something, right, Daryl? You're originally from Nova Scotia. So, yeah, the birthplace has come through. It was delicious. That Benjamin Bridge bubbly, I mean, it's so special. Can't find it anywhere else. You can get it through the club while we still have some the next couple weeks. So we're doing this build your reverse advent calendar, I guess. As we reveal the bottles, we will post Carl's notes and scores, and you can order some. We don't have a ton of it available for each of the nights, but we have some, so you can kind of build your pack. If you really like the bubbly, you can get 1 or 2 bottles of bubbly, and then maybe later you pick up something else. I know some people will probably just wait till the end to see what they might want to reorder, but it is all there as an option. So. All
there as an option. So reveal number 1 was Benjamin Bridge, non-vintage reserve, a 92 plus points, Carl's Wine Club. I know that a few members, you tasted it, and I'm more than members. I mean, you're truly Mira Boucher, kind of kicked me in the nuts and saying, hey, this wine is underrated. You sure have to rate that wine higher. But yeah, I mean, there's some good discussion going around here. The Benjamin Bridge non-vintage reserve was an absolute hit. 60% Chardonnay, 35% L'Acadie Blanc, and 5% Pinot Noir. A true champagne method, non-vintage, with in the base wine some cuvee going back all the way to 2002. So I mean, this is pretty cool, pretty special. So now
That's pretty cool.
some people have their wines here. Wine number two
Shall we do
reveal.
it?
I mean, we're going to move from Nova Scotia to Ontario. We have a red wine. This is a oh, there you go. So Stacy
Oh, 94
and
plus for the-
oh man, I really, really underrate that one. Holy shit, that I failed on that one. Whew. So
You guys
Stacy
here because
sitting at
I
94
think
plus.
what happens, Carl, when other people don't rate the wine, like you're probably the only person to taste this wine.
I've probably been the only critic to taste that one. I think you're right. You're right
Critic,
with that.
right? And so if you don't see other critics going like, "Oh my God, it was 98 points or something," then I maybe you don't get the idea to go as high. But it was definitely in that rock star range, Stacy and Jeff. Like,
There's like at least 10 examples that I was the first one to taste it in the country, and people like.
And you called it.
Picked up on it 6 months later and I gave it a 94 plus 95, and these wines went on and won gold at the wine, double gold at the All Canadian. So yeah, I mean,
so I think what's happening too is we're getting spoiled, Carl. I mean, we're getting pretty spoiled. I think that's what's happening.
The week before, I had the Blanc de Blanc from Leaning Post, pre-release Leaning Post Blanc de Blanc 2019, couple of days prior. I had the one Grand Reserve 17 with the non-beer. I don't know. Maybe something was off in my palate that night. Maybe
oh, it was so good. I mean, here's the other thing.
But you challenged me that night, Mira. I'll stop you there. Like right there that night, you challenged me and you said, "Really? Only that?" And you told me by a couple times where we were sitting at the table with the oyster, and I was like, "Yeah,
we were having it side by side with some other bubblies, including the one Grand Reserve from Noble Ridge, which another critic gave it, a master of champagne, gave it 100 points. So you gave that one 93 plus, and the Benjamin Bridge 92 plus. And I think that's what I'm saying is that we're so spoiled because you have several like incredible wines open and you go, well, this one's the best. This one's kind of in the middle. This one is also really, really good, but not quite at the same level.
Yeah.
But we're so spoiled that they're all phenomenal, So
I know, right? I know, totally. No, totally. So, okay, so that was reveal number one. I know people like I have to readjust my line of thought here with Benjamin Bridge. I'll give it another try, I guess. Now, wine number two, we're going from Nova Scotia to Ontario on the Beamsville bench, and
Carl's wrapping work.
Yeah, I know. I got the brown bag. It was much easier than the job that you had to do with you.
But then all the tissues and stuff.
I know. And there you go. This is
wine number two, and it is a gorgeous Gamay from the Beamsville bench.
Malabar Estate Winery, and this is not like every Gamay on the market. This is the Courtney Gamay, which is the original block of Gamay at the Malabar Estate Vineyard. This very block has been made separately since the very first year in 2002, because since the very beginning, they found Shiraz and the team and Martin Malabar, they found that very block had something very special, and they've been making that Gamay ferment, age in barrel and bottle separately since the very beginning. So it always had something special. And when I tasted that first, I was like, okay, yeah, this is truly special. And that's why it's a reason because, here is the thought process here. We were doing 12 different wine from across the country. We wanted to highlight at least 10 different sub-region of the country. But also, I wanted to highlight different grape varietals and different type of blends. So we haven't talked enough about Gamay in the last 5 years. This grape varietal is on the rise, especially in the eastern part of the country. We haven't felt the same buzz in the western part of the country. And to be honest, I haven't tasted the same level of quality in terms of Gamay, the same level of complexity, the same level of purity in the western part of the country. And there's so many things that we could have featured from the Beamsville bench. They make world-class Riesling, world-class Chardonnay. There's so many different things that could have choose from, but I decided to go with the Courtney Block from Malivoire. I'm super excited. And I put that wine in the advent calendar. And when I flew to Montreal to work at La Grande Dégustation, I got there, and guess which wine that Malivoire, and when Shiraz Moitar was there as well to taste the wine. And the wine that they had chosen to showcase the wine enthusiasts in Quebec was that very wine. So, yeah, I sipped on it the whole weekend in Montreal, and I was so happy with my choice. I was like, yes, that's really, really cool. And now we have it in your advent calendar. So cheers to that. Cheers to Malivoire Courtney Block 2021 vintage. 92 points from Wine Align, Michael Goddell. 91 point plus, I believe, from Tony Aspler. I gave it a 92 points. One of my very favorite Gamay out there. I know that my highest rated Gamay so far is the Wismar Foxcroft from Thomas Batchelder.
Oh, that's so good.
It's at the same kind of level. So yeah, here we are here. Oh yeah, smoky on the nose, violet, potpourri, crushed raspberry. This is so Gamay. And when I put on my notes, from my wow. If I tasted that wine blind taste, like I was almost going like Cru Morgon from the Beaujolais. It's this very, very pure Gamay nose, very authentic, very pure. Oh, that is good. That is good.
Delicious wine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So have you said your score yet?
92 points. It's in my tasting notes here. 92 on the dot. Like I said, to me, it's truly, truly Gamay. And there's some oak in there, and that really lifts the Gamay profile, and it gets some texture on top of it. Gamay is not always known for a textural wine. There's some new oak in there. It makes it very round, soft, vanilla with complexity. So this is not a little wine. Often we have the perception. No, often like the Gamay gets the little brother treatment often. And no, this is definitely not a little brother wine.
The alcohol is 12.5. I mean, that's the nice thing about Gamays. They're usually a bit lighter, right?
Exactly. That's why I was suggesting a little bit chill, slightly chilled. You know what? I put it in the hotel fridge here for 20 minutes. And I just get a slightly up to room temperature just to give it a little chill. It's lighter. but it's not, it's a lighter style of wine, but it's not a light wine. The concentration is fantastic. The tannins are great. The weight on the mid palate, it's absolutely appropriate. I mean, like again, it's not the little brother wine. This is one of the very top. This block of Gamay at the home vineyard at Malabar is known to produce the very best grape, and darn it, that there's complexity in there.
Beauty. Shall we hear from the winemaker? Well, you mentioned that you were at La Grande Dégustation in Montreal just a few weeks ago and ran into Motier, Shiraz Motier, right?
Yeah, Shiraz was there presenting his wine for a full day and a half. So
that is the winemaker at Malivoire. But they have another winemaker too.
So what happened here, it's Shiraz from the very beginning. Martin Malivoire hires Shiraz to start the project with him. And Shiraz, from the get-go, built the wine program at Malivoire. And down the road, I mean, he got more like all the viticulture program. He became the general manager of the winery as well. So he's taking on the role of the more of an administrator at the greater role at the winery. And so he hired a lady out of Italy, Elisa. And Elisa was a very passionate lady about bubbles, but about bubbly. And but for many years now, she's been with Shiraz, and now is taking over the whole winemaking program under the supervision of Shiraz. So really cool. We're gonna have Elisa an interview here.
So I thought tonight Elisa was coming live. It was pre-recorded. Tomorrow,
it was pre-recorded yesterday. Yeah, it was pre-recorded yesterday.
Tomorrow, but I can't tell you who it is. But he or she will be here live because, of course, we reveal a different wine each night, and some of you have not opened tomorrow's yet, so I don't want to spoil the surprise.
No spoiling surprise, but it's a white wine tomorrow night. So just saying, our first still wine of the whole process. I would like to hear from members. If any one of you guys have a Malivoire open tonight, if your wine number 2 is open, let me know what you think. And while we're there talking about my underrated wine of yesterday, do you agree with my 92 points here with the Malivoire Courtenay? If you don't have the Malivoire Courtenay open tonight, it's totally fine. Let me know what's in your glass. Put it in the comments. If you had Malivoire before, let me know. Put in the comment what is your favorite Malivoire wine that you had. So I want to hear from you, members.
We do want to hear from you, and I'm doing a draw for anyone that comments Instagram. I'm watching you guys as well. Nice to see y'all on Instagram. So leave a comment, and we'll add you to the wheel of names. Daryl won a signed copy of the Sipster's Guide to 50 More Ontario Wines last night. So triple signed copy. Carl signed it. I signed it. Luke Whittall, the author, signed it. Tonight, we're giving away an Enovino, which you should have one at the hotel there, but I will bring one up after. I thought I'd have one right here, but we're giving away an Enovino wine aerator, which is a must.
I did not thought of bringing
advent calendar.
Yeah, I didn't thought of bringing my Enovino to the hotel in my mini stick World Cup tournament.
Well, for those of you that don't know, it decants your wine instantly. You just pop it in the top of the bottle, and it aerates it, filters it, decants it. It's pretty awesome.
To be honest with you, I believe that is the best wine tool out there. There's a lot of wine tool out there, and Enovino, to my opinion, is the very, very best for a couple of reasons. First, because it's stainless steel and with a silicone rim, and it can go in the commercial dishwasher at any time. It's not like washing your decanter. And for people like me and Mira who taste wines every single day, we don't go through bottles. So you just put the Enovino at the top and you put one glass and it's decanting your wine. one glass at a time is the absolute perfect tool for wine lover. Here's my spiel on Enovino. I really love them for real, and it's not a
For real.
sponsor, and it's not sponsored right here. So
So we'll see how many nights Daryl can win, because I do think he's planning to be around most of the nights. Stacy and Jeff too. I hope you guys do as well. But everyone else, you're watching, leave a comment. You might as well win something one of these nights. And let's have a little fun with it. I was also thinking like, oh, Marilyn, you're in Oshawa. That's really close to Niagara, actually. That's awesome. That's
we so Daryl said 91 plus, so he's pretty close to our score of 92. So he's half a point under my suggestion here. So I we're in the same ballpark on that one, Daryl. So cheers to that.
It's kind of fun because
excited.
we're tasting these things together. It's kind of cool for those of you that are opening and tasting them. So it's pretty fun.
I'm excited to taste that wine again tomorrow. I did it already. You see how that wine's evolve overnight, and if it's kept well kept overnight, tomorrow this wine is becoming a different beast. So I can't wait to hear from all of you guys. Yeah. How about
Awesome.
how
Should
about
we dive in with Elisa from Malivoire? She's the winemaker along with Shiraz Matier, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Here we go.
We'll be right back. Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, here we are, day 2 of our Advent calendar, our Pan Canadian Advent calendar. So second day, second reveal. Yesterday we were in Nova Scotia. We discovered the non-vintage brut, Lake Disgorge from Benjamin Bridge. And today we are going to Ontario, going to Niagara, going to Beamsville with Malivoire Winery. And I'm here with Elisa, which is the winemaker. She's the winemaker at Malivoire. Elisa, good evening. How are you doing?
I'm good. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, so we have people from all over the country, from coast to coast. So we're excited because it's day 2 of our Advent calendar, and we have one of my very favorite Gamay producer here, and Elisa, you had your hands all over that wine from 2021. So thanks for joining us. I really appreciate your time. It's a little later for you out east, so but I greatly appreciate. So let's start. Malivoire Estate Winery. When was Malivoire founded, and how did it happen, and who is at the start of the winery?
Yeah. So, long story short, Martin Malivoire founded in 1996. He has nothing to do with wine. He was a special effect in the Hollywood studios, but he was passionate about wines. So in 1995 he purchased the first property here in Niagara. So that's kind of how it started, and then the focus was on Chardonnay and Pinot, but later in the game, Gamay became a huge part of the winery. So it started everything with a small vineyard. That's where Martin Malivoire's property, where he lives, is. It's just a couple kilometers from the wineries, and then he bought the property where the actually winery is. And because he was so creative, he's so innovative, he actually kept the original structure of the building, that it's a quanstone, and then he made into a first gravity winery in North America. So it started from the top of the hill. It goes all the way down where the barrel cellar is underground, and then it kept this structure. Try to be creative in what he was doing in the film industry, and then it put all the input into the winery. So the biggest property on the vineyard, it's on site of the winery, and then we have a few other properties, about like between 2 to 5 kilometers apart. So very limited on our Beansville Bench area. A little bit of outside the Beansville Bench appellation, but still very close to us. So
And
one of the focus on the winery here is sustainability and be so close to where we process the grapes. It's one of the key factor for us.
so you can preserve the freshness of the grape from harvest to the press, right?
Yeah, and also keep an eye on the grapes day to day, right? Without driving like hours. It's one of the beauty of having the vineyard so close to you that you can really see the evolution and all the progress that the grapes, but also the vines, right? The vines change colors, the vines change just the way that they react with the weather is very intriguing. So yeah.
That is really cool. How many acres of vines do you guys have under the estate of Malabor?
So the Moira Vineyard like about 13 acres. So, but then the state it's 35 almost
Okay.
now. So
Okay.
and all the other vineyards are about like 13 acres something. Like
13
that.
acres. Okay. And like on the good vintage, you guys produce what, 10, 12, 15,000 cases?
About 25.
25. Oh, good. Good. Yeah. No, that's funny.
We do have a couple of growers that we have a long relationship. So we do rely on their vineyards. It's not just ours. We grow so much in the last I would say 10 years that our vineyards was not enough for us, but also if we were buying more vineyards it was also more hard to find laborers for us. So when we build relationship with growers is actually very nice having these connections with them as well.
Absolutely. And I see on your portfolio, you guys have Wismer Foxcroft as a partner. So these are very well known and well established source of grape that some of the very top winemakers are sourcing from. So seeing these names on the portfolio, like, you're right. Okay. So this is a very serious operation. I had the privilege to go through your portfolio a few times, and I'm very familiar with what you guys do in terms of Chardonnay and also in terms of Gamay. And with our Advent calendar, we really decided to focus on the Gamay production. But first and foremost, I would like to touch base on where you're located. With this Advent calendar, we're talking about 12 different, very specific areas in Canada, which are famous for grape growing and making world-class wine. And definitely the Beamsville Bench is one of the very top grape growing place in the country. What makes the Beamsville Bench so special for you and for you guys at Malabor?
Yeah, so just to speak very on the basic side, where we are located, we're in between Toronto and Niagara Falls, but we also are between this Carmen, that is this little hill, I would call it, coming from the Alps area.
Exactly. We're from BC. We're right in the Rocky Mountain. And that's funny because when we bring clients and when we bring winemakers from BC, and people are like, where is the escarpment? What is the escarpment? And they point it out and be like, oh, that's the escarpment? But it makes a huge, tremendous influence in the grape growing process.
It really does. It really does. Because being right sandwiched between these hills and the lake, we're on an elevation area. So we can benefit from that for sure. We can benefit from the well drainage because obviously the lake is just a few kilometers apart. But we also have a benefit from the lake itself being far enough, but not too far. It mitigates and then really lower the risk of freezing, so cold damage. It mitigates the hot summer because for the reason of being close to the lake, there is always sort of like a breeze. So even when it's really hot, the vineyards never suffer too much because there is this constantly breeze that goes from the lake hit the escarpment, and go back to the lake. And it's kind of like a circular thing, like if it was a constant fan. So we are very fortunate in that way because as most of the people that know this area, Niagara, it's considered a flat place. But the Beansville Bench, it's called bench because it had that area that goes a little bit on the hill and down to the lake. So it's really specific in that way. And it seems a very small details when you look at from the big picture how big is Niagara. But Beansville Bench is actually like 20 kilometers of the area. So we were really fortunate in the past where some other sites got cold damage or suffer from the heat stress. And our business, on top of being over 20 years old, so obviously the roots are established, they're deep in the ground so they can reach further, and the canopy and never really have issues because this mitigating season. So it's a pretty sweet spot, I would say. So, knock wood, you never know what happened these days, but so far, even on the variation of the vintages that we had in the past, we always were able to work around it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And just to put people in perspective a little bit, what are the other big names, known producer in your category who are surrounding you on the Beamsville bench?
Our neighbor, we have really like a few feet of grass to separate. It's Cape Spring. And then a few kilometers in front of us, it's Redstone Vineyard, and then on the other side of opposite of Cape Spring is Taz Vineyard.
Okay, yeah. So these are all very known.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, now Beamsville Bench and Gamay. What is the relationship here? Is it the soil? Is it the fresh, cool air coming from? What is the color? Because we've seen some of the very, very, very best Gamay that we produce are from your area. So what's the correlation? What's the relationship between Gamay and the Beamsville Bench?
Yeah, I want to do one step back just to put everyone in a sort of a perspective of how the Gamay started. Gamay is definitely not a top 10 grapes when it comes to when you think about top wines. So of course, Malimar was focused on Chardonnay and Pinot. But then Martin has really this innovative idea of discover something that will fit in Niagara rather than copy what other region would do. Niagara was always considered a cool climate, and it's still considered a cool climate region. So when we talk about cool climate, we're talking about not just the cold weather, but we're talking about the cool summer that we have. So obviously our growing season is very short. So Chardonnay and Pinot works very well. Other variety have hard time here because they need a longer season, which is not necessarily always the case. Obviously, the vintage to vintage change. But Gamay is one of the grapes that doesn't need this long season of growing. So when Martin planted some Gamay, the focus was rosé. So we start to make our Ladybug based on the Gamay. And then if you're familiar with Malibor, Ladybug was one of the first wine that was at the CBO. Our Ladybug symbol is everywhere in the labels in the winery. So
it's synonymous of crushable. I mean, this is such a crushable wine. Well, I love Ladybug.
So this story was okay. Gamay is meant for rosé. It's a lighter red, so we'll never make this big, boldy red wines that people are searching from California, from Spain, Italy. But when they start to make red wines out of it, they kind of say, okay, this is good. This is what Beaujolais makes. So then we look at the Beaujolais area and how the growing season, and it's very similar to us. They have this sort of short season But Gamay is just a perfect grape for it. It has this fruit punch. It doesn't need this 13-14% alcohol, so you don't have to ripe it. And actually, it's very versatile as grapes. So we planted recently, 4 years ago, more Gamay, just because we are so excited about this grapes. And it's also the one grapes that it never fail vintage to vintage to be very consistent. And for a winemaker point of view, that is the key. Because when you
Absolutely.
have to produce the same quality wine year every year, my professor taught me that a good winemaker is the winemaker that can produce good wine from not very good grapes. When you have very good grapes, there is a chance that you can produce a very good wine. So when you work with Gamay, you have a good chance that the grapes will turn out very well, even though the weather could just throw something very random every year here in Niagara.
Yeah, and 2021 was the perfect snapshot of that because the numbers were great. It was a fantastic growing season all the way in September when boop, the rain started and oh my God, when it rains it pours and it didn't stop for a while. So I believe that the Gamay was probably already off the vines when the big rain period started, and that's one of the reasons why your Gamay from 21 are so outstanding.
Well, most of them, I would say, but Corny is one of the few blocks that we really want to leave it hanging longer. So,
Okay.
one of the particular on that block is it's kind of separated from the rest of the vineyard. So it's on isolated almost from the others. And for some reason, we're very attached to that block that we put extra care to it. Extra care in terms of vineyard management means more thinning, more management of the cover crop. Just recently, just to throw in something totally different, we had a huge trial happening with different type of cover crop, which is very excited. I don't have the results yet, so I can't share it, but stay tuned with that. Uh, but corny is the one that we like to leave it a little bit longer, just to have a little bit more ripeness, a little bit more concentration. But because it's last crop, the bunches are very not touching each other. So even
Okay.
when it was raining, the fact that game has a very thick skin, that's what I was talking about versatility, because you can pick it early, have it a little bit lighter product, but if you let hang a little bit longer, the thickness of the skin just make it more concentrated, and of course you have more concentrated on sugar. So that's why Courtney, it's usually a little bit higher alcohol compared the rest of our game. It's also is the only one that see a little bit of new oak. We always try to avoid oak on the game just because the fruit is so delicate and forward that it doesn't really need a lot of oak. But Courtney has this characteristic of being more concentrated. Then a touch of new oak is actually what brings more fruit to us. And we like the idea that Gamay doesn't have to necessarily have to attach to a light red or a nouveau, something more like lighter, but it can also be a robust red that it can be paired with like something like even a steak, right? If you want
Oh,
to do a longer
absolutely.
dance, so it's like I would not see anything wrong because sure, it's not a Bordeaux, but it has the power to it.
Definitely has a bond. I when I tasted it, I compared it to a Morgon crew. I mean, they had that structure, but also had the layers and some body to it. So, and like with the oak, the little bit of new oak in there just make it a little bit more lifted and some structure and layers. I thought it was a brilliant. I give it a 92 points, 92 plus. One of my very favorite Gamay of the year. And I love what you guys are doing. Absolutely fantastic. Elita, I didn't ask at the beginning, but where's your background? Where are you from? Are you from, you said you're from the Alps, so I'm thinking maybe Italy, because this is not a French accent. So I'm going to go on the other side, and I'm going to say probably Italy.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, I'm Italian. I came to Canada first time in 2010, and then moved to New Zealand, and then back in 2011. And then since then, I stayed. So
That's and with were you with Malabor the whole time?
the first couple years, no, and then yeah, I
Yeah.
met Shiraz, and then yeah, and then Malibor really grows. So my job kind of like evolved year to year until a couple years ago when Shiraz, my mentor, moved on the higher level of the management, and I
Yeah.
took over the winemaking part.
Yeah, he told me a little bit about your progression. And he's really, really, really happy. So you have an amazing mentor, Shiraz, one of the most accomplished winemaker. How it is to work, because he's a heck of a character. I absolutely love his personality. How it is to work with him closely.
Uh,
And don't worry, nobody's listening. We can say, "Oh, everyone, it's a secret here. No one's gonna tell him."
no, I actually really enjoy work with him. It was always a relationship where sharing was the main thing. I was sharing my background, I was sharing my ideas, he was sharing his background, but always on growing for both of us. So we really grow together in the way of winemaking speaking. And I think our personality kind of like it kind of match and goes against. So it was really a good fun work together. And I think we have a very similar taste in that way that it was easy collect ideas that they weren't too far apart from each other. So I push a little bit into the sparkling because I love that.
He told me that it was your baby, and if you could do just one thing, you will be working on a sparkling program like year round.
Pretty much. But then
Uh,
he was pushing me on trying new things and not be afraid of like experiment. And if something goes not the way he's planned it might be a good reason for it. And I was like, to be like not in one way, but kind of like looking outside the barrier. It was really something that it taught me because in winemaking you have one chance to make wine. Grapes are harvest once a year. It's not like other spirits that you have the chance through the year to make more. You have one chance. It's one harvest. So when you want to do crazy things, you have one chance. And that's what he
one
taught me.
chance to be crazy. One chance to be crazy.
And go nuts, like no worry, something is gonna work out.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I saw that you guys just released one of your traditional method, right?
The Blanc, yeah.
The
Yeah,
Blanc de
it
Blanc was
was,
just released recently, actually.
well, it was kind of like holding on for 5 years, right? So it was kind of like, okay.
It's been a long time coming. You've been working on that in a while for a long time. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you. This is awesome. I haven't tasted yet, but I will. It's on my list. And I think Tammy is sending me a bottle of it. And I'm gonna rate it. I'm gonna do the tasting notes, and I'll be a pleasure to send that all over to you because I know it's your baby and you really cherish that program. So this is our 2021 Courtney Gammy, one of our second reveal of our advent calendar here at Carl's Wine Club. Elisa, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining me. And we'll be in touch very soon, okay? I appreciate your time.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much. You have a good
Woo! There you go.
So that was Elisa Massey, winemaker at Malibor Estate Winery on the Beamsville Bench in Ontario, Niagara. The winemaker of the 2021 Malibor Courtney Gamay reveal number 2 of our pan-Canadian advent calendar. So, Mira, what do you think? That's a fun one.
That's
Eh?
awesome.
She's awesome.
That's
She's pretty awesome. That's funny because like Shiraz and I had a great talk about her when I was in Montreal with him. So it's pretty cool to have her in interview and getting to know her a little bit more. And yeah, I was surprised. So talking about the Courtney blog, that's where I learned about that was the original blog, and that's the source of the most prized gamay of the whole portfolio. So really cool to learn about that. And this wine now is opening up. Like it's been open for 55 minutes now. It's opening up. It's gaining texture. It's like getting like the sweeter edges. I mean, that's a really, 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 really good wine. I'm really excited.
That's great. That's great. And Marilyn's been on. Great questions, Marilyn. Mary, I think I got the name wrong because it comes up as ML Tilston on YouTube. She's just asking, trying to figure out how to build a case. It takes me directly to checkout. We're going to clarify that a little bit here and send a quick email after this live. But basically, you can use the code ADVENT and you won't get charged shipping. If you want to just like go through and reserve wines, there's maybe a way we can do that too with something called at the checkout, you can do bank deposit and then we can put them all together for you. You can, if you decide to change your mind or something, we can do that. And then at the very end, you could just pay for it at the end and then we ship it. So we're just going to send an email clarifying that. But Mary, what you could do is, let's say you wanted like one of the games, right? You could put that through using code ADVENT, and then we will know to put that together with anything else that you order during the Advent calendar and just send it to you at the end. And if you get to 12 bottles, we'll cover the shipping. If it's less than 12, it would be a flat rate of $20 to get it out to your doorstep, which is pretty awesome. No need to drive around and get in the mucky weather.
There you go. Thanks for the clarification, Mira. That's awesome. Again, this wine is opening up. The nose is just exploding right now. Awesome. So yeah, I want to hear from you guys in the comments. If you you have the wine open, let me know what you think. What is your favorite Mellavoie wine or whatever? If you're enjoying that process of the Advent calendar, these interviews, because tomorrow I'm back home. I will be back at the office for our third reveal, a white wine this time, and I can't wait to do that with all of you. We have someone live, a major player, so I'm really like, it's going to be awesome to host him.
Is this someone we've ever met before on Coast Wine Club?
Nope.
It's never been
new. Completely new. Yeah, completely new.
Awesome. Marilyn is asking if we order tonight, would we get it before Christmas? If it's an Advent pack, like the mystery packs, we will expedite those out. So it would get to you probably Tuesday, latest Wednesday this week. Yeah. If you wanted to build a pack like some people are doing, where you just add a bottle here and then you wait a couple days, meet another winemaker on this live, and then add another bottle. We're going to be holding those till after the holidays so we can see which ones you want and then put them all together. But if you wanted to get the 6 or 12 bottle Advent pack, I'll drop the link for that. Just scroll down in there. You can see we have a few left. We'll get that overnighted to you. Yeah. So Mary, it is asking you to pay now. So you would have to pay now. We could make little adjustments later, or I can, clarify in an email. I think there's a way to select bank deposit when you check out, and then it doesn't charge you. And then we can send you like a recap at the end. But yeah.
Wow. I mean, people are interested. People like the options of building their own case. So that's a good development here. I'm really happy to hear.
We'll try to get that a little more clear and easy to do. To be clear with people here, okay,
It was Mira's genius idea. I've never thought of that. To me, I was just like excited to reveal 12 wines in 12 days and going for there. Mira's like, hey, how about we offer the possibility of people to buy and to build their own case throughout the Advent calendar release. I was like, oh my God, this is a brilliant idea. So this is really a last minute feature that has been added to the process. So Mira, you're doing an amazing job. These ideas are so
I know our
incredible.
members, and I know some people will be like, I never heard about this. And now I want some of it. And
No,
just doesn't feel
absolutely.
fair
I mean,
to
I
just be
mean,
sitting here sipping all this good wine by ourselves. So we should share it, right?
oh, it's not really like listen, wow, like that Benjamin Bridge Reserve non-vintage. I mean, no one can get their hand on that. So who? Like, I mean, if you're a fan of bubbly, I mean, why not, right? So now we have that Courtney Gamay, which is a rare wine from the original block of the Malabar estate as well. And this is available. Choose the amount of bottle you want, and we'll either build your own case and go from there. It's awesome,
Yes.
awesome.
Super.
So
Daryl's down for 3 of the bubblies, which is awesome. So we'll set those ones aside for sure for you. How many hours did you invest in the Advent calendar? You guys, this is what we do. Like, we don't even count the hours, but Carl did a lot. Like, he
I
just
would,
makes it look easy.
yeah, but you know what? It was so many. It was a lot, but a lot of fun hours. I mean, just sitting and I mean, I have a picture. I took a picture of my framework. Mira, it should be in our photo and our Google photo. It's a picture of my framework. Oh, it ended as I have 12 square. And oh my God, if people can read through that, it's almost like it's all of my. It's so funny. I started with the region, and I'm breaking down every step of the way. I spent like many hours in front of that framework to come down.
It was hard because it's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. Like, you want to feature different regions. You don't want to have more than one Chardonnay. You don't want to have more than one Riesling. You don't want to have right. So it's it's harder than it looks. But
and I mean, and also which varietals that you feature from which region, right? And some regions are stronger for a different like that. And now we're talking about we need the good mix of reds versus white. We need the good mix between BC, between Ontario, between like the whole thing. There's so many components in the whole thing. But I believe that at the end of the day, I'm sorry, that was the mix is fairly solid, and I'm very happy with the end result. We have a few more left, guys. They are packed. They are already wrapped and ready to hit the mail express post. If someone wanted...
So I think someone was asking, I think it might have been Maryland, which is cool, Maryland, that you're in Oshawa and you found us. We're in Summerland, BC. And Carl's in Merritt for the weekend at a hockey tournament. But that's what they look like. They're all wrapped up and labeled, and then we open them each night. So it's kind of fun. And to me, it's like a massive box of fancy chocolates, but it's wine, so it's even better. Hey, should we do this quick?
Absolutely.
Love it. Okay, I think I got everyone that commented. I'm just going to check Instagram one more time. Yeah, you guys on Instagram, not commenting, but I see you. Go. Oh shoot. Did I let's spin it. Watch Daryl get like 2 prizes in a row.
If he wins again, I'm banning him for the rest of the Advent calendar. I'm gonna blacklist him.
Oh my God, Marilyn, it's your lucky day. That's hilarious. It was, I think, the first live she stopped by. So that's super cool. If you're still on, Marilyn, I'm going to DM you right after this because you won an Enovino wine aerator. They're worth $40. They are awesome. You just pop them into the top of a wine bottle, and they aerate and decant your wine, so you don't have to like pour it into one of those big glass decanters and wait for like an hour or 2 hours. It just does it instantly for you, and it goes in the dishwasher, which is, we just love this thing.
Yes,
So,
there's no
yay.
like,
Okay,
there's
well,
no panicking, try to get it dry and like scrub it and the sediment and all that. No, this is the best wine tool on the market. I'm telling you, I taste my wine with my Novino. It decants my wine one glass at a time. So, yep.
that's super awesome. Cool. Well, that's great. Thanks so much, you guys. Louise, I'm sorry for calling you Mary. I was like looking you up because I know you'd ordered the Advent pack, and I was like, is it Mary? Is it? So you go by Louise, but there is an M in there. Anyway, I'm glad I know now.
There you go. Well, Mira,
thanks,
thank
guys.
you
We're
so
back
much for
tomorrow, live
the amazing hour that we spent together, because we're far apart right now. But I'm coming back home tomorrow. I'll be back at the office. I'm gonna take my my player of the game here. Our boy got the golden jersey today for the first star of the second game. So I'm gonna take him out for dinner. He wants to go sit at the bar, sitting at the bar at Boston Pizza. So watch the bartender do some stuff. So yeah, quite funny.
Awesome. It will be great. It will be great. All right. Well, thanks, wine lovers. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for supporting world-class Canadian wineries. And
just a quick recap. Reveal number 2 today. So yesterday we had Benjamin Bridge, the non-vintage reserve traditional method. Today, we have from the Beamsville Bench in Niagara, Malivoire Estate, the Courtney Gamay 2021. Tomorrow, tune in for reveal number 3. Can't wait to see you all.
Is tomorrow a fridge wine? Yes, you said it's a white, right?
Yes, it's a fridge wine tomorrow, but not too cold, though.
Okay.
Not like freezing cold, okay?
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.